Are you tired of self-doubt holding you back? Have you ever wished you could have the confidence to face your fears, go after your wildest dreams, and the tools necessary to live your best life? Hey there, amazing listeners. I'm your host and author of How to Grasp Confidence and Own Your Power. And I've made it my mission to help you break free from self-doubt and embrace confidence. Subscribe now and join us as we unlock the secrets to unshakable self-assurance. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Grasp Confidence Podcast. Before we get started today, I just wanted to express gratitude for all of our listeners out there who are supporting this podcast right now. Guys, thanks to you and your generous support and love, we have made it to the top podcasts in both the countries of Thailand and Hungary for self-improvement. Amazing! I can't believe it. So thank you so much for our generous supporters and lovers of this program. Now, I want to throw out an interesting statistic. There's about 1 billion LinkedIn users on LinkedIn right now. 8 billion total people in this world. Out of the 1 billion users on LinkedIn, about 1% post content. 1%. I can only imagine why the reason so few actually post content. Part of the reason is, I think, a confidence issue. But I thought I would delve into this topic a little bit deeper with someone who is a social media guru to take us on this journey of all things social media, showing up online, being visible, but also growing your brand outside of that by being on stage. So I have invited my friend, Carolyn Cummins, to the show. Carolyn, please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you, Tara. Hi, this is Carolyn Cummins, and I own Santosha Solutions, which I created for the sole purpose of helping small business owners. I am a yogi. I'm a certified yoga teacher, which is part of my journey. And my passion is really helping other people succeed. And I have figured out how to find the joy in my life and contentment, which is why I called my company Santosha Solutions. I'm happy to be here.
Wow. Contentment and joy. Those are two things that we all are seeking, right? I mean, who isn't seeking more levels of contentment and joy? I'm kind of interested in that. What is this? How did you formulate this company name, and why is that so important to you?
Well, Santosha is one of the 8 limbs of yoga. It's in the niyamas of the 8 limbs, and it means contentment, which I roughly equated to joy and happiness. And what I find is that most of the time in an entrepreneurial venture, you are always looking for that end point, that $1 million or that certain number of sales or getting in the black because you start off usually in the red. And you miss all of the small joys and successes along the way because you're looking so far forward. And so you miss the joy of entrepreneurship. You just feel like you're struggling, and never really reaching your goal, because the goal always moves no matter where you are. And that's life in general. So finding the joy and the contentment and being happy in the moment is really what I'm trying to teach people. And social media just happens to be the way that I do that. But it really aligns, Tara, with your gratitude and feeling confident, is that when you have gratitude for the little things that you're accomplishing, the sales that you make that one day, or the small incremental, successes that you have, then you start to feel good. And that good feeling just emanates out of you. And miraculously, I'll say it's karma, good things come back to you. And so my business actually is a fluke. I started it mostly to help my friends who had yoga studios, and it turned into a business. But I had a yoga studio previously, and although I found that to be a huge success, helping myself seemed less within my skill set. It's in my skill set to help other people. So I decided to start a business where my sole purpose was to help other people. And in turn, because I did that, then my business is thriving. So anytime I focus on myself, it never does well. So I just focus on other people, and the gifts seem to keep coming, and I really appreciate that.
Well, you are reading my mind, because I actually am working on another book right now, and it talks about that philosophy, but we won't get into that on this show. I'll have to wrap with you after the show, right? Because, wow, it's very much in line with that. So you're doing all these incredible things. You're speaking on stage, you're helping other people. What was the catalyst for this? Like, take us back to a time maybe before this happened, when you weren't quite aligned with this purpose that you're talking about of helping others and giving back to the collective. Was there a time before all of this happened?
There is such an obvious time. It is burned into my memory, and maybe not in a good way, but I was in corporate America. I was a very successful senior vice president for a very large company, and I traveled around the United States, training other people in our offices. I, for all practical purposes, had a very successful life that anybody would want. And I was happy for a very long time. And then something changed. I went to a yoga retreat in 2008. I met the wife of the gentleman that started the type of yoga that I teach. And I looked around and I only saw happy people. There was an entire community of people that just were friendly and happy and wanted to be together and told great stories. And I was like, I want to be in that group. I want to be that happy. And that was the moment that I decided that I wanted to open a yoga studio and be immersed in that life. And it just didn't happen in 2008. That was super hard. I decided to stay with my career. And then in 2010, I made the decision to stop my corporate career and go to teacher training. And the reason is because I had been on antidepressants for about 18 months. There was a change in my work, and it really was debilitating. And at the point when I was driving home every day, trying to decide which direction I should run my car off the road, which would be the least impactful to other people, I decided that I needed to get some help. And after so long of being really miserable and not really understanding why life was so bad, because in all practice, from everybody's viewpoint, I had the best life possible. I went to teacher training in 2010. The day I left for teacher training, I stopped taking my antidepressants. Everybody says you should never do that. I had no side effects, and I really feel like my life was just pushing me down. I could not figure out how to get out of that hole. I went to teacher training, and from there, I just found joy in life. Yes, there were struggles. Yes, there was pain, but I was happy. I was in a fantastic community. I live in Georgetown, Texas now. My parents are here. My brother and my sister-in-law are here. I have a hashtag. It's living my best life. And because I feel like I am living my best life, I chose to move back to this area to be closer to my family. I saw a YouTube video many, many years ago where a gentleman was talking about the number of Super Bowls he was going to see in his lifetime that he had left. And he estimated, I think it was like 20 or 30. And that seemed pretty small to him. And so he started projecting how many of just X, insert anything, that he had left in his life. And he's made a point that said that the time that you spend with your parents, the majority of that was in your childhood, and that you will spend, maybe you'll see your parents once a year or once every couple of years. And that really kind of horrified me that I would not see my parents that much in my older years. So I chose to move back home, and it's just been the best. And that's where I think that when you find your purpose, and I've really discovered that my purpose is helping other people, and you live a life of joy and of good feeling and in your purpose with gratitude. I'm grateful every day that I get to be here and do this. It just brings out the joy in your own life. And I have a beautiful garden. I built a wonderful backyard oasis. And I just love to sit out there and watch the squirrels and see the beauty. And every day is a joy to be alive. And it's just wonderful. And I wish that for everyone. That's what I try to teach people. To get back to social media, most people don't like to do marketing. So I try to help people figure out how to do their marketing in the least sort of stressful way, using some automation, not everything automated, but reasonable automation, so that they can go out and do their passion and share their passion with the world, which is really what they want to do. Because unless you're a marketer, nobody wants to sit around doing marketing.
Isn't that the truth? I'm a marketer. And I have people constantly coming to me for advice about marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny, but I want to rewind a little bit here because there's a lot to unpack. Right? Everybody's listening and saying, whoa, 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 whoa. She was a corporate executive. She had it all. She had the American dream and felt like she wanted to drive off a cliff.
Yep.
Well, similar way, my friend. And it wasn't that long ago, right?
It was not that long ago. And I really think every day that I had the sense to go to a doctor and say I needed help. Because I at first was like, no, I'm fine. I just need to reframe my mind. And in a lot of ways, I do think that that's true. I just needed to reframe it. But I wasn't able to get all the way around to the other side. I just saw that my life was never going to be happy again. And I don't condone necessarily a lot of medical, things. I am a yogi at heart. However, there are times when you need some assistance to figure out how to get to the other side. And I feel very grateful that I was able to do that, because a lot of people can't get to that point and they just see all the dark and they can't get out of it. And that's the worst part, is when you, because everybody that I know thought that I was happy. Nobody thought that I was in a dark place. And that's what happens to people that are depressed, that are on that edge. You don't know that they're like that, because we're all very good at hiding that. And I lost the ability to be grateful for the things that I did have. And I only focused on the things that I thought I had lost. And it wasn't until I saw really happy people that I was like, oh, that's what I want. And the happiness that I found was really out of leaning more into my passion and less into, I'm in corporate America, I'm a big executive, I'm making a lot of money, I have a BMW. I mean, those things are all great, but at the end of the day, what is giving you joy? And that was not giving me joy. Now I feel joyful every day, and I love seeing people succeed, and having clients tell me their greatest successes that they've achieved is probably the highlight of my day.
I love that. Success looks different for everyone. know, it's really easy. We're talking about social media, right? It's really easy to look at the Instagrams of the world and compare ourselves to others and think that there's something about us that is lacking. And it's really easy to look at posts from other people and say, well, they can do it, but I just can't. I can't express myself. What if? What if it isn't received well? What if people don't like it? What if nobody sees it? What would your advice be to someone who is having these thoughts of doubt and worry, and because of that they feel like they're not able to fully express themselves on social media or otherwise? What would you say to that person?
I would say, one, what is your goal in posting? What is your goal in being on social media? And if it is to communicate about your business, about why you started your business, about what it is that you have to offer to the world, then having that conversation. So typically what I do is I would just sit with somebody in sort of the same way that we're doing. We're just having a conversation, but that draws out the key points of what they would want to be talking about. And if they do that in an authentic way, then their audience is going to respond, the right audience. Now, I will say that if you are a sarcastic person and you like to write cheeky posts and somebody, and that's your business. I mean, that's your whole persona, and people know that. If people who are following you don't resonate with that, then they probably aren't your target audience. You have to lean into who you are authentically and then find your tribe from there. You're not trying to attract all the people. You're trying to attract the people that are like-minded, are going to resonate with the things that you're saying. So if somebody doesn't resonate with it, right, it's sort of like, I don't want to get into politics, but it's sort of like the political atmosphere right now. There's polarization on both sides. You're not going to change somebody from one side and bring them over to the other side all the way to that extreme. So you're not going to appeal to everybody, and that's okay. Appeal to your audience. And as long as you know your target audience and you understand who it is that you're talking to, then you can talk to them in that authentic way. If you are a particular type of person and you speak in a way, and then you completely change that on social media so that you fit into the narrow box that you think somebody should be in because you read, you Googled something and somebody said, well, you need to talk in this way and you need to have these titles and you need to look at this particular way. And that's not you. It's going to come across as not you. And you're going to wonder why nobody liked it or commented, because it didn't sound like you. It didn't resonate with your audience. And so at the core, you have to be authentic. And I teach people a basic structure of how to write a post, how to do a reel, a short video, or how to communicate in a particular way. But at the end of the day, all of that has to feel authentic. So I have a friend of mine who we went through this course that I did on creating your entire social media calendar. And that was in January of this year. And just 2 days ago, she called me and said, I think I finally got it. I'm like, okay. So we talked about it and she was pretty close. It was not what we talked about before. It was just slightly different, but it was more her. And so we leaned into that. And I said, okay, if this is what you want to do, here are the ways that you can do that are going to be better for your audience. And so that's the thing, is being authentic to yourself, understanding your goal, and really knowing your target market.
I love that. It's so true. And I've seen this with myself, with others. And it's so, so powerful. The thing about confidence, and this is probably the most commonly asked question I get about confidence. How do you know it's not arrogance you're developing? The answer is very simple. Authentic confidence is not arrogant, right? And if you come at it through a place of service, through teaching other people, There's no arrogance there. It's like oil and water. It's not possible, right? They can't mix. And I've seen this with myself and others. And I'll put posts out there that say things like, hey, this is what I like to talk about. If you like to talk about this, you're my people. And I put it out there. And if not, it's okay. I'm not trying to shove my beliefs on others or have them prescribe to my exact thinking. What I'm trying to do is just find my people, right? But the only way you can find your people is by being you. And, somebody told me this one time. I asked her, I said, how did you find me? Right? Because again, like we talked about in the opening of this talk, 1% of people post on LinkedIn alone, right? I found this person on LinkedIn. And I asked her, I said, how did you find me? And she said, it's like a very big stadium full of dark, but one person has their lighter on. And you find that lighter. And
that's great.
Right?
I love that.
Yeah. So it is possible to find your tribe out there. And I really, really, really encourage everybody to do it because, especially as business owners, do you want to work with clients who are not aligned? No. Do you want to work with clients who you can't have a natural conversation with? No. Do you want to work with people who you have to guard your thoughts and speech and all your actions? It's so much easier when you can be authentic and find those who appreciate your authenticity. Isn't life so much more grand when we do that, Carol?
Yep. And you mentioned earlier in the beginning, I think it was 8 billion people
in the world.
In the world.
Yes.
And so when you put that into perspective, there's really enough people in the world to go around for everybody. Yes. So there are lots of marketers. There are lots of speakers. Speakers often are like, oh my gosh, I can't get on this stage. There's so many speakers trying to get on stages. And yes, there are. But there are also a lot of places and ways to speak. And so there's no need to disparage other people or feel jealous of other people or not feel confident that you can't also be doing those things. You just have to find the right place. But there's a big world out there, and there are lots of people for coaches, for speaking gigs, for, if you are looking for a social media person to help you, there are lots of them out there. You just need to find the person that you resonate with and then work with that person. And that's why having a lot of variety is great, because you get to choose the person that is going to be best for you, instead of in some situations in life where you just get, sat down at a desk and you get told what to do and you don't like it and you don't like your boss. The world is sort of your oyster in this way, in that you have lots of opportunities. You just have to kind of go out and find them.
Absolutely. And, when you're aligned with your true authentic self, with your purpose, with your strengths, is there actually competition? I don't really think so, right? And when you're your authentic person, there is no room for competition, because comparison is diminishing to you.
Well, and you're unique in your passion, right? So everyone has their uniqueness. Therefore, you, in a lot of ways, don't have competition, because whatever you're offering is completely different. Maybe on a high level, it's the same, right? There's just certain industries. But individually, you're offering a uniqueness by giving your perspective and your authentic self. And so people can't compete with that.
Nope, that's exactly right. And I've seen that as well, as an author, as a speaker, as a podcaster. Someone told me when I was writing my book, confidence, that's already been done. Don't worry about it. Leave it to someone else, right? I could have listened to that advice and then we wouldn't be here today. The fact of the matter is that I have a unique perspective on confidence because of my own lived experience. don't listen to the naysayers, folks. And again, if we're talking about social media, a lot of people get deterred because they think of trolls and all of these negativity that can happen to them. The reality is that it's okay because, again, like you said, we're not trying to appeal to everyone. We're trying to appeal to the right ones. And as we go on this journey, it's normal and commonplace for those things to happen, but don't let it deter you from your purpose. If your purpose and your why are strong enough, it'll increase your level of confidence over time. And then all of a sudden, those people that were negative, that once took up a lot of mental real estate, aren't even a blimp on the radar for you because you're so aligned with the purpose and your potential that you have. What do you think about that?
I absolutely agree. When you are living at your core, your purpose, which I think is important because I don't think a lot of people really think about their purpose. They're just living life. You know, it's sort of the old saying where life happened while I was living life. And it's true. If you aren't in tune with your purpose, then you can't live your best and fullest, most happy life because you're living life sort of in a different dimension of your purpose. And the only reason why I feel so strongly about this is that many, many years ago, someone asked me what my purpose was, and I really had no idea. Again, I was working in corporate America. I didn't really think about it. I just knew you went to college, you got a job, you worked your whole life, and you might change careers, but you're still just working. That's fine. And it wasn't until I had this really pivotal moment of negativity that changed my perception and made me think, what is going to make me happy? And it turns out that yoga makes me happy. It turns out that teaching makes me happy, and that helping other people makes me happy, and that being near my family makes me happy. And I have luckily been able to do all of those things in the same area. And again, every day when I get to talk to a client and help them with their social media, which is a small portion of their business, really, it gives me so much joy. I had a client that wanted to get into a particular area recently. We worked on it. I said, I'm not sure that this is going to work, so I'm going to track it every week. And within 2 weeks, he called me to say that he got 2 clients from this particular area that we were targeting. And I was like, that's amazing. That's amazing. And that would have never happened. I would have never felt that joy if I wasn't in this business. And to see his business thrive is just the best thing in the world. So live your purpose. And if you're not living your purpose, if you don't know your purpose, then I highly recommend researching that and really thinking introspectively about what it is that you feel like you are meant to do.
Absolutely. And I want to bring out something that you said as well, that the purpose of all of our lives, regardless of who we are, is to add value to others and to bring about positive change in this world. No single individual has a purpose that is diminishing to other people. I just don't believe it's possible, right? That one person has a purpose that is, for hate or violence or destruction. The purpose of all of our lives is to build up ourselves and each other and to provide increase to others and add value to their businesses, their level of success, their lives, right? Increase their happiness and joy. That's purpose. And it doesn't have to be a complicated concept or a convoluted concept. It's about leaning into the strengths that you naturally have, thinking about how it can better a collective, right? More than just yourself. And then thinking also what would suit you. How could you get money from this? And, money in business, it allows us to propagate our purpose and to farther our expansion so that we can help more people. And these are all good things, right? So I think it's important to note that, you lean into what makes you feel good. Lean into the natural strengths that you have. And when you start to really align with your purpose, the exciting thing is you wake up sometimes and you're just on fire. You're ready to conquer the day and see what challenges you can overcome and see who you can help next. And I think that's so important because through your life's journey, what you've taught us here in this short session was that you can go from being feeling, you always had a purpose, but feeling as if you're lacking purpose to feeling an abundance of purpose.
Yes.
That's powerful. That is so powerful, Caroline. I love that.
It has been a great journey, and I love being able to share it and inspire other people to live their best life. Again, I have this hashtag, and so if you look it up, you'll probably see a bunch of my posts of speaking, hanging out with my parents. It's really all about expressing the joys of everyday life, because the end goal, I heard something the other day, death is inevitable. That's going to happen for all of us. So it's our choice on how we live the rest of our time. And it's just so much better to live it feeling joyful and happy and being helpful to other people and watching them feel joyful and happy.
That's what it's all about. Well, what a wonderful discussion today. And I know this gives everyone who is listening a great sense of purpose, that they have the ability to go from, again, a feeling of lack of purpose to then clarity and ultimately a deep sense of purpose where we again help ourselves and help others. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show today and sharing your amazing story. It has been fabulous and transformative. Any last words of wisdom, though, before I let you go today?
I would say remember to be authentic, understand who your target market is, and share your joy and passion with the world.
That's it. I love that. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being an amazing guest on the show today. And thank you for everyone who tuned in. We will see you on the next episode. Take care. And that's a wrap for this episode of Grasp Confidence. Thank you for joining me today and investing in yourself. Remember, building confidence is an ongoing journey, and each step you take brings you closer to the empowered, fearless version of yourself that you were born to be. Don't forget to visit my website, follow me on social media, and purchase my book, which is available on Amazon. Thank you for listening. We will see you on the next episode. Stay confident.